What's up, guys, and welcome to Press A Repeatedly. Justin Thomaso here with Chris Gold.
Hey, everybody.
And I know it's Halloween, but we are not dead.
Well, speak for yourself, Justin. You may be still among the living, but I am dead. Unfortunately, I'm sorry to have to break the news to everybody, but it's okay. I'm arisen. I'm undead, as it were, because I know Justin, he needed somebody to help record the podcast this week, so I couldn't leave him out in the cold, so, yeah, I'm not going to let a little thing like death stop me, so here I am.
Yeah, dead, undead, back from the dead, whatever you want to call it. We are back. We'd like to just start with a brief little apology of, the past couple of weeks have been very light on content. Unfortunately, like I've mentioned in Twitter, this pod isn't our full-time job as much as we would like it to be. And, sometimes as it is a hobby, other things kind of have to take precedent. And unfortunately, the past couple of weeks have been pretty tough for us to schedule and everything. And, honestly, we both kind of were losing a little bit of momentum as well with the pod, and it was just a rough couple of weeks. But we had a pretty good discussion the last week that we really do love doing this, and we really wanted to get back on the horse, and just make sure to just really that we have a strong grip on this podcast and that we can keep it going because we love playing games and we love talking about it, and we love everybody's support, that this pod has had. So, we're just very happy to be able to get back, and we appreciate everyone, just kind of being patient with us and helping us, waiting around for us to be ready to produce new content, for everyone to listen to.
Yeah, absolutely. And plus everyone's words of support and encouragement behind the scenes, that really helped out. It's nice that no one is really overly pressuring us to get the content out so much on a regular basis. Like we do because we want to, and we want to make sure that everyone has something out there consistently, and it's always a good show week in and week out. But sometimes you just hit a personal malaise, especially with the seasons changing, things just kind of it just weighs on you a little bit. Plus, with all of our schedule, your schedule, Justin, and mine, it's just been tough finding a lot of time to sit, not just to play games, but to actually record the podcast itself. So it's been a little tough, but we're back. We're here. Hopefully, we can get things out to you guys out there a little more consistently. But yeah. We love this show. We're not going anywhere. Not yet, anyway. So, yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah, absolutely. We're happy to be back and keep doing, what we love. Yeah, like you said, Chris, it's not just that it was hard to find time to record the pod. It was also just hard to find time to play games. And when we're not playing games, we don't have anything to really talk about on the pod. And that was also kind of, leading into the gaps. But, luckily, over the past few weeks, I have been playing some games. Chris, you've been playing some games as well. And so that's what we're going to do today. We're just going to keep it simple. We're going to talk about games we've been playing. If you remember way back 3 or 4 weeks ago, when the last time I was actually on the show, Chris gave me a creepy arcade game to play, which I have played and, of course, have a lot to talk about as well. So, yeah, we're just going to be focusing on that today.
Yep. Short, sweet, and good to eat.
Yeah, perfect for Halloween.
So, tell you what, I think I hate to invite myself to go first, but I think I'll be a little quicker. So, tell you what, why don't you lead me into the what are you playing?
I'd hate to do this thing, but I'm going to do this thing.
I hate to go first, but, well, here I go. So, Chris, what are you playing? Thanks, Chris.
All right. Well, I like your moxie there, Chris, and I believe I will ask you, what are you playing?
Thank you, Chris. Well, given given how much time there's been, unfortunately, I really have not been playing a lot that's too new or different. I've been playing a lot more of Chasm. I've gotten very far into that game, and
Yeah, the last time you talked about this, I was not on the show, so I'm
yes.
super pumped that you're playing it. I still want to get it. It's on Switch now. I want to know what you're thinking of it.
Well, it is a beautiful game. It's got the gorgeous like 16-bit graphics and everything is super detailed. Uh, it's just a very, very tough game. Not just in dealing with a lot of the different enemies that you're facing, but a lot of it is also the environments that you encounter. So a lot of the world, like it's you get a seed at the beginning, so each world is generated at the start of each playthrough, so each world is different from playthrough to playthrough.
Right.
And sometimes the enemies that populate certain rooms, sometimes a lot of the environment can interfere with how you actually deal with them. So it's not even just a matter of learning the enemies, it's also a matter of learning the environment that you're fighting them in. For example, there's some enemies that you have to jump over to like get past them, and then they attack you and they kind of pause for a little bit before they turn around to try to attack you again. And that moment where they're like recovering from their attack, that's when you attack. So like you jump behind them and then you turn around and you hit them.
Finding an opening.
You gotta find that opening, right? Well, sometimes those enemies attack you in rooms where the ceiling is very low. So you try to jump over them, but I mean, it's one of these. The enemies are the type where any contact with them at all will hurt you. And unfortunately, when you get hit in this game, you get hurt a lot. Like, it'll take a lot of health off of you each time you get hit. So that's been a struggle, having to deal with that. The other thing that's been a bit of a struggle is, like, the map is okay, but it doesn't really give you a great idea of where it is you need to go next. Like, you kind of just have to explore all around the world until you're like, oh, you can check the map back and forth, and you see like little, I guess, gaps in the rooms. Like it's kind of like a grid structure, the way Super Metroid was, and you see like little gaps in the walls where there's a door. And if it leads down to like a black void on the map, you can be like, oh, I haven't been to that room yet. Maybe I can go over there. So you go over there, and you spend all the time to fight the enemies to get through and get there, and it's a dead end. And you're like, okay. So now you have to go all the way back through the same rooms you went through. And every time you re-enter a room, whatever enemies were in that room spawn back. So if you had to go through a gauntlet to get to that room, you have to go through that same gauntlet coming back. Yeah, there were a lot of times where I literally was like, I had no health potions left. I was down to like little health, and I was just trying to run past enemies and just avoid them as much as possible. I wasn't even fighting them because I just desperately had to get back to a warp area so I could get back or a save point, because every time you save, it heals you up fully. And I wanted to get back to town, buy some more supplies, heal myself up. It's tough. It's not. It's definitely not a hand-holdy game, but it's still a fun game though.
Yeah, so that reminds me of I know there's a backtracking, obviously, because it's a Metroidvania. Do you think it gets to a point where it's more of a nuisance than it is, more of like a fun exploring mechanic of the game? Because I remember when Nick was playing Hollow Knight, he was having a lot of that same issue you just described, where he keeps checking his map and kind of looking for like small areas of the map that maybe was a door that he didn't go in yet, and just going back to find that. And I know it can be annoying, but when he did go back into a room and found just where he had to continue to go. It was kind of like relieving and exciting at the same time.
Yeah, it was definitely exciting because it's kind of exciting in that same way where like we've played Minecraft before and you just kind of go like let's say you want to just dig straight down. You're like, "Oh, I'm going to build like a little staircase or whatever that just goes down into the ground, because you want to go mining." And you just start digging and digging and digging and digging and you're like, oh, like where is there anything here? Like there's nothing. And then you dig down and all of a sudden this cavern opens up and it's like, oh, look at all this. And there's just all this area to explore. It's like a whole brand new area. That's kind of the feeling that I get. Like you go through these same areas over and over. Like a lot of it is very familiar and you're like, oh God, where do I go? What do I need to do next? Like I think I've found like one enemy dropped a scroll of teleportation, which you can use once to get back to the town from wherever it is you are. And I mean, like, yeah, I've already used it once, and because I didn't want to have to deal with going through an entire trail of enemies all over again to get back to where I wanted to be. But it's gone, and it's just a single-use item. I haven't found any more. I can't buy any more. They're not available to purchase just yet. I don't know if maybe they will eventually. But yeah, I remember when I was playing Hollow Knight, yeah, I had a lot of the same issues myself. Like, I want to be able to explore the area and take it at my own leisure, but I also kind of want an indication of where it is I need to go next. Now, I don't remember 100%. Yeah, I'm sure someone out there will yell at me. We can't go a single episode without being significantly wrong about something.
Yeah, and scolded harshly for it.
Yeah, but that's our brand. I'm pretty
being incorrect.
Being incorrect. That's our brand. I think Super Metroid may have had a thing where on the map, the room you needed to go to may have flashed. I think I don't remember 100%. I think it did, and that kind of was an indicator of saying, okay, if you want to progress with the game's storyline, if you want to go wherever it is you need to go next, here's where you need to go. But you don't have to go there right now. So the rest of the world was opened up to you, so you could be like, oh, I know I need to go there, but for the time being, I'm going to go explore these rooms. There's an area over there I haven't explored. I'm going to go check that out. And
right.
you could just kind of go and take care of things, and you might find secret upgrades, or more missiles, or energy tanks, or whatever it is was hiding there. And then eventually you'd be like, okay, I'm done kind of exploring. Let me get on with the story, and then you'd go to the main room at that point. So like I can kind of see where people are coming from, where like a Metroidvania game is it's about exploration and finding your own path through things, but we already know the path and we know how to get back to wherever it is we want to get back to. And I feel like Chasm specifically doesn't really provide a lot of great avenues for you to get back to wherever it is you need to get back to quickly, especially without having to refight a lot of the tough enemies over and over again every time you do. Because, I mean, a lot of times I'm dying in the game, and it's just because I happen to explore a dead-end area. And, I'm just, like, clinging to life when I get there, and it turns out, oh, this was a dead end. And I'm like, great. I may as well just throw myself off a cliff and die.
Yeah, that sounds really frustrating. Are there fast travel or like any other kind of teleportation things besides the scrolls in the game?
What they have is each world that you go into. I've discovered a few worlds at this point. Like there's a garden world, catacombs, the main mine area. What they have is, because it's all underground, there's these rooms that have kind of like tunnels that lead through them. So you go into this room and there's a doorway, and you enter this door, and you come out into like this other separate room that's not on the map. And what it is imagine there's three of those smaller doors kind of situated somewhere in this room, like, and they're very easy to find, like they're just all there. Like there's one up top, there's one on the left, and one on the right. And as you explore the main world, those doors will open up as you discover them. And so like one can be on the top area of the world, and another one will be on the right side of the world. So if you're on the top side and you want to get to the right side pretty quickly, all you have to do is navigate to that door. You'll go through there, you'll go through the secret room, find the other door that's on the right side, go through there, and you'll be on the other side of the map at that point. So you go through that one room instead of having to go through tons of rooms to get there. And
Right.
in the middle of these rooms, there is a giant door with like a fancy facade, and it kind of glows a little bit when you discover it the first time, you activate that door. And that door will let you transport between the worlds. So if you're in the keep, you can go through that door and it will take you to the garden world. It will take you to the catacombs. It will take you to the mines. And then from there, like, that's how you can quickly get back to town, because that fast travel room will take you to a door that leads straight to town. So if you're in like the catacombs and you want to get back to town pretty quickly, find the room, use the big door to get to the mines, use the little door to get to that one spot in the map that leads you straight to town.
Okay.
So it is a little clunky, to say the least, but it is somewhat effective as long as you can get to one of these. As long as you can get to one of these rooms. I mean, there have been times where I've been traversing the world and I've kind of been like, like shoulders bleeding, like got blood pouring out everywhere. I'm like, oh man, I am hurting right now. And I stumble into this room and it's one of the transportation rooms. So I'm like, oh, thank God. Because then I can go in, make my way to the mines and make my way to the town from there. And then I can heal up, buy new potions, and then just backtrack through there to the spot where I was. And then I'm like, all right, now I'm good to go.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's not perfect because you do still need to navigate your way to those rooms to be able to transport out of there. And some of these enemies can really, really pack a punch. Especially the ones that I just discovered in the keep, because I got a upgraded move and I made my way to the keep, and there's like these giant skeletons and there's these blob monsters that pretty much jump all the way across the screen at me, and it's very, very hard to dodge them. I've actually been grinding in this one room, just attacking these couple skeletons and this slime monster over and over again, retreating back a couple of rooms, saving, and then going back and killing them over and over again. And I've actually leveled up several times just by doing this.
Yeah, I was gonna say all that backtracking, sounds super annoying, but at least you're fighting these guys and you're leveling up. You're getting a lot of experience in this travels.
Right. So it's it's pretty fun because like as you're fighting the enemies and you're just discovering what their moves are, what are the best patterns to dealing with them. I mean, it's like every world that you discover so far in the game, and it's like any other Metroidvania. You see these enemies for the first time, and you're like, oh shit, because how do they attack? How hard do they hit? And then you learn their attack patterns, you study their movements, and eventually you get good at fighting them to the point where later in the game, if you backtrack through that world and you see them again, you're just like, boop, boop, one-shotting them, killing them, and just like you're yawning and just killing them with your yawn, like super, super easy. So
yeah,
that's always a satisfying feeling. But yeah, Chasm is it's a fun game. I can definitely sort now as I played more and more of it, I can see where some people were experiencing frustrations with it, but all in all, I still like it. It's still a fun game, and I would recommend it. Just it's not. It's definitely got flaws. Yeah, not a perfect game by any stretch, but yeah, I would recommend it.
Awesome. Yeah, I still definitely want to check that out. And also, Moonlighter is coming to the Switch very soon.
That's right, it is.
And I'm super excited about that. And also, Save Me, Mr. Taco. That game about the octopus wearing the hats. That's like a Game Boy style game. That's coming out very soon too. So it's a few Switch indies that I'm really pumped about.
I will never not be disappointed that Mr. Taco is not about a taco.
Well, it's Tako, which I
I
think has to do with the Japanese name, like pronunciation of octopus.
I understand. I understand completely. But I want it to be about a talking taco
Yeah, I mean,
who
that would be
eats
pretty
Takis.
sweet.
Yeah,
It's like
a
cannibalism.
well, then, I guess maybe. Yeah, a Taki eating talking taco named Mr. Taco.
All right, we'll get right on it.
All right, but I think that is going to do it for me. So now, Justin, let us throw it over to you. What are you playing?
All right, awesome. So yes, Red Dead Redemption 2 came out this
Whoa!
past Friday. Yeah, if you recall, way back in the beginning of the year when we did our most anticipated games of the year, this was my number one. Even though back then I wasn't positive it was going to come out this year, super happy that it did. And yeah, I picked it up. I downloaded it. It was, as you guys talked about on the last episode, it's a very large game. I think the download size was about 92 gigs. So I had to free up some space, but it wasn't an issue.
Well, that's good at least.
Yeah, I freed up some space and I downloaded it overnight, the Thursday night before, and I had to work on Friday. But then when I finally got home, I was able to just turn it on and play. So that was a really nice, thing about it. But I'm pretty sure I talked about this before last year, but I did play Red Dead Redemption, the first one, last year,
Yes.
and I absolutely love that game. I'm a big fan of the Western cowboy setting, gunslingers, outlaws, that whole kind of thing. I'm a big fan of the Dark Tower books, so getting to play Red Dead was kind of putting me in that world, and I just appreciated the hell out of it for that. But on top of that awesome setting, it's just the quality of these games, that Rockstar makes, the amount of detail they put into character development and dialogue. And in my opinion, they are one of the absolute best developers in both of those aspects in games. They can really make some awesome characters. Dialogue feels really natural. Stuff that you would hear people, talking to each other like nowadays, just like ragging on them and stuff. Even in the Grand Theft Auto games, it's funny, it's serious, it's got like plenty of drama. It's a really, really engrossing experience just to play any one of their games. And that coupled with this awesome setting that I really enjoy, yeah, I'm like 100% in. If you've seen any screenshots or videos, the game is absolutely gorgeous. I'm only about 5 or 6 hours in so far, but I've only been to 2 biomes. I guess you start off in a snowy mountain place, and then you come into like a town in a forest, which is like a nice green, lush area in the springtime, and just the wildlife, trudging through the snow. when you're riding your horse through trees and like hitting branches, like there are so many little details in this game that are executed so well. Stuff that you would never really even think about. I know you guys talked about last episode the dynamic horse pooping and the testicular physics, and yes, I can confirm they are a part of the game, and
They are real and they are spectacular.
yeah. There was one cutscene I was in the middle of where I was turning in this one horse into a stable, and like the camera was like zooming in on my character and the other character in the scene, but the horse's butt was like in like the main foreground, and of course it was mid shit, so like just pooping like right in front of the camera.
Hey,
So
hey man, that's the whole experience. That's what you paid for. Yeah, you want to ride a horse? There you go.
Yep, it's all there. I think what's so great about this game is that it's a it's a perfect blend of the open world and like a linear style gameplay. When you start a mission in Red Dead or really any of the Rockstar games, there's set goals that you have to do. You're going somewhere with somebody, or you're going hunting, or you gotta take somebody somewhere, or you have to go investigate something, and there's like a path for you to follow, and there's enemies that you'll interact with along the way. But outside of doing missions, you are free to explore this humongous world, this living world where like you can just run into random people. You have the option to play the main character, Arthur Morgan, any way you want. You can be a complete asshole. You can try and be a nice guy. You can rob people. You can let them go. Like, everything is up to you. And of course, everything has consequences as well. There's just so many details in this game. So many different ways you can play. Like it's almost like just two separate games. Like a game for just playing the missions, and then a game for like open world, like doing whatever you want. It's just crazy. How much is in this game. I think that actually kind of tends to be a little bit of a negative to the game, that there is so much little things that they've added. I think a lot of it, like, it's appreciated but doesn't really need to be there. I mean, there's some crazy specific things in the game, like your character's weight, like his actual like how much he weighs, like, will alter in a game. Like, you can lose weight, you can gain weight. The shaving dynamic in the game is you can actually, your beard grows over time, over the days, and you have to physically go and shave it if you want, and after a few days it'll grow back again. There's a lot of realism stuff that it's cool, but I don't necessarily think it needs to be there. A lot of it can maybe be seen. It's just like a little too much, a little bloat, a lot of sub menus. There's a whole like stat sheet for your horse in the menus, and just all the different like crafting elements and everything that's in there. I think games now are trying. They're afraid to not have one thing because they might get called out for not having it, so they're trying to put everything in that game, in their game, and it's almost like I don't have time to do everything that's offered in this game,
Right, but I mean, you don't have you don't have the time to do all that stuff, but there are people out there who I'm sure they do have that time, and they would appreciate having that customizability. And I mean, you can go through the game now. You don't have to deal with any of those options. I mean, a lot of that can be ignored. Can it?
Yeah.
So,
A lot of
yes.
it's optional.
Yeah. So like, yeah, you don't necessarily like. Yeah, you can play through and you can focus on like, maybe I'll focus on my horse, or maybe I'll just I want to be clean shaven as much as possible. So someone will play through and they'll get shaved every day, or someone else will play through and be like, yeah, screw it, I'll just let my beard grow out. I mean, to me, it's just nice that they have all of these options for you to be able to play the game however you want to be able to play it.
Yeah, I guess the point I was trying to make is that it can be a little overwhelming, and sometimes I don't know if I'm missing something that like maybe that the game does offer that I didn't know about that could help me out, or just something like that. I mean, even like in your camp where you start off, there's like a million different options, a million different people to talk to, different people that sell you different things for different upgrades. You have to supply your camp with food, with medical supplies and other provisions. There's chores around the camp that need to be done. Like all this stuff is happening just inside your small camp, which is probably like 0.1% of the entire game. It's an impressive amount of things that I think could possibly sometimes feel like a little bit too much.
Right. No, I can understand that. Yeah, especially there really isn't a way to kind of turn that stuff off or kind of have it in the background where it isn't kind of always in your face, especially when you go into the menu. Now, how is like the menu like navigating everything, and say there is something you want to do or something you want to adjust? How is it like managing like inventory or navigating the menu? How is all of that, especially considering how customizable everything is?
Yeah, so like the main menu of like the start menu and stuff is pretty self-explanatory. It's kind of a lot like the first game. A lot of this game reminds me of the first game, and I really, really am a fan of that. They really kept it similar on almost aspects. But yeah, to go back to what I was saying earlier, in like the top left corner, there will be like a pop-up that like explains a new system or something to you. And I've been playing for like 6 hours, and like I just feel like every 2 seconds there's a new pop-up about something new that I can do that like is in the game, and or a certain way to do this thing, or like your bond with your horse increased, or you can now skin an animal this way or something, like always something new like popping up in that corner, and it can be a little distracting. But as for the menus of like selecting your gun, like going through your satchel and stuff, that stuff's not too bad. I kind of have a problem with when you go to your horse, there's different menus to go through. There's like a jog dial menu that you can bring up, and it's a little clunky sometimes where you have to like hold L1 on this gun and then hold R2 to change the gun, and then press L1 to equip the gun, and it's like three different buttons you got to press at the same time to like just kind of pick whatever gun you want to use. And I'm sure that it gets a little bit easier the more you play, but early going, like I'm having a little bit of trouble of remembering certain button combinations of what does what.
How many times have you lost your hat so far?
So yeah, another really cool thing that's realistic is that like your hat will fall off a lot. I was finding it very frustrating because I kept losing it and not being able to find it. And Arthur Morgan's cool without his hat, I guess, but he is 1,000 times cooler with the hat. And right. I got in a couple of bar fights where like I got punched in the face and like my hat flew off, or I just like fell off my horse and my hat flew off or something, or even like if someone shoots you like in your hat area, it can blow off. And if you know where the hat is on the ground, you can pick it back up, no problem. But I had a couple times where like I was in the middle of this one quest where I'm fighting this guy and he punches me in the face and then he starts running away. And it's like, all right, do I stop and look for my hat and pick it up? No, like I have to chase this dude like before he gets away. So right. Like I ran after him and got him, and then when I came back, like I couldn't find my hat anywhere because I couldn't remember exactly where where we got in that fight.
Does the wind blow the hat sometimes? Like if it falls on the ground, will it like flutter away?
I haven't tested that yet, but knowing this game, I would guess that it probably does.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just saying before that I was having a lot of trouble because I kept losing my hat, and it eventually would come back after a few missions, but I was getting annoyed. But then I found out that the hat always is on your horse, so even if you do lose it, you can just go up to your horse and like in your horse's saddlebags, like your hat is there, so you can replenish it that way.
All right, pretty cool. Tell me about some of the fights that you've gotten into.
Yeah, so the fights have been pretty great. I've gotten into, of course, there's a lot of shooting. I'll briefly talk about the shooting. If you thought the shooting was kind of not that great in Red Dead 1, it's pretty much the same in Red Dead 2. It's the same system of kind of like you have a very small red dot as your crosshair, and the game gives you the option to auto lock on, right? So if you kind of just hold R2 to aim your gun, the cursor will automatically connect on somebody, so you can just fire and hit them. I'm kind of torn on that because it's very helpful, and aiming in this game is a little tough, and just seeing enemies in this game is a little tough because they kind of blend in really well. Like a lot of times you're fighting from pretty far away, and it's kind of hard to see people. So it's nice to have that option. On the other hand, it feels really cheap to just kind of hold R2 and then just, fire and kill a guy. Like I don't feel like I'm really, attacking this dude. I feel like it's just kind of like it automatically locks on and it shoots, and it doesn't feel like I'm actually working on like getting that kill.
Well, I mean, they probably figured you were going to be spending a lot of time trying to get your hat back, so they wanted to make it as quick and efficient as possible, so you could boom, take him out, and then go get your hat.
Yeah, and it's a matter of preference, and you can change that at any time. I remember I did the same thing for the first game because I thought the same thing. I think this feels kind of cheap. So what I wound up doing is I turned off the auto aim when you're on foot. However, when you're on a mount like a horse or something, it's a lot harder to move and aim. So I went with the option of keeping the auto aim on for when I'm on my horse. And yeah, just kind of found like a balance that way. So, there's options for everybody.
All right, nice.
Yeah. And then I got into a couple bar fights. So there's fist fighting in the game that I don't think was really in Red Dead 1 that much. But this it's been happening a lot in this game so far, so I guess it's a pretty big feature. But yeah, it's like a close-up like brawl, and you press circle to punch, and you can actually hold square to block, and you can kind of dodge out of the way of blows and stuff. And
nice.
I had to fight this big drunken Scottish guy outside of a bar with a huge beard who was like 2 times the size of me. And
most Scotsmen usually are.
Yeah. And it was a pretty awesome fight. Like you're fighting outside in the mud, and like the rain's coming down, like everybody's watching you and stuff.
Ooh, it's kind of hot.
Yeah, sure.
Whatever you say.
So yeah, but that was an awesome fight. I was able to get him down.
Nice.
And then, real quickly, I was playing the other day, and I'm just riding through, the forest, just kind of doing my own thing, and I hear a guy screaming, and he's like, "Help! Wolves! Wolves! Help!" And these wolves are chasing him.
Oh,
so, Zul was watching me as I was playing, and like I saw the wolves, and they started coming towards me, and I hopped off my horse. And, logic says pull out your gun and shoot them. However, I'm still kind of getting used to controls. And, like, as the wolf was charging me, I kind of panicked. And I couldn't remember what button brings out your gun. Uh-huh. So what I did was, as the wolf came up to me, I just started punching and kicking. And there was a scene of, like, mashing the circle button. And Arthur Morgan just kicking this wolf in the face and then stomping it, literally like stomping it into the ground, like just stomping. And like after 5 kicks, like the wolf keels over and dies. And I killed it by stomping it to death without any problems. I didn't get hurt at all. And it was the most badass thing you'll ever see in a video game ever.
That's so fucking hardcore.
Oh my God. It was like this momentary thing of like the wolf was coming towards me, and there was like nothing in my brain was telling me that this would not work. I was 100% certain. I had no idea you could punch a wolf. Okay, I was 100% certain that I would just kick this wolf's ass when it came close to me. So I just started smashing the circle button, and yet I literally just kicked it in the face, stomped on its neck a few times, and just completely kicked its ass.
Oh my god. I just imagine this guy like cowering behind him and being like, Mister, aren't you going to pull out your gun? Nah, don't need one. Boom. It just starts kicking the hell out of this wolf.
Oh, yeah, it was incredible.
Oh my god. That honestly sounds incredible. I'm crying.
Oh, man. So, yeah, that's Red Dead. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of other stuff to talk about. I'll probably be talking about it more next week because I'm going to be playing this for a long time.
Right.
But yeah, overall, I'm loving it. I'm super happy I got it, and I can't wait to just kind of like just relax and like enjoy my time playing this game. You know, I'm super happy that it's here. I was worried that it might not feel exactly the same way as Red Dead 1, but so far, like, it's a really, really great sequel. And yeah, I'm just hyped to play it.
Yeah, nice. Real quick, just a special shout out, especially because they've been in the news a lot lately. But special shout out to the devs at Rockstar for all the like hours and the time and effort they put into actually making the game. I know, like, yeah, especially in the video game industry, like, I mean, we could probably have a whole episode discussing this, but like the actual hours put in are significant, and for them to like churn out a product where you can punch and kick wolves in the face until they die is really amazing and awesome. And it's tough because like they work crazy hours for ultimately our enjoyment. And it's hard because, you don't want them to have to do that. But on the other hand, you don't want to not buy their products, and have all their work go to waste. So it's always tough to try to like strike that balance. But I mean, at absolute worst, at the absolute least, they deserve special shout out for all that hard work and time and effort, because you're seeing a lot of people really enjoying this game right now, and I'm sure a bit of that is some catharsis to the devs there.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, that team deserves all, of the praise in the world for the work they put into it. But, it's not just Rockstar. Unfortunately, this is, kind of the method of making games for a lot of developers out there today.
Right.
And I do think it's a problem, something that needs to be addressed. And, I think it's going to take some time, but I really do think that we have to get out of that mentality, both as, both for the developers and as fans of games, of expecting things to be out, at a certain time and faster, and getting mad when games are delayed and all that kind of stuff. So, it's a big thing that needs to be worked on. But yeah, I hope that it can be soon, and just everybody can enjoy games at a healthy rate.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So, you got anything else?
Yeah, I have been playing. I was watching some videos about the Game Boy Advance, and I feel like I really missed out on that generation. I had a Game Boy Advance, but I really wasn't gaming that much during that time. I've got, some of the core stuff, like a lot of the Mario games and, some of the other stuff, but just going through that library, I just feel like there was so many missed opportunities. And I was watching a video just going over like maybe like the top 25 best games on the Game Boy Advance, and Golden Sun popped up, and I love RPGs, and that this is Golden Sun is probably named as one of like the better RPGs on the Game Boy Advance, and I've always heard great things about it, and I never played it, and then I found out that it's available on the Wii U Virtual Console. So I picked it up and started playing that.
I was going to say, you can still buy games on the Virtual Console?
On the Wii U. You cannot on the Wii.
Okay. I knew one of them had gotten shut down. Okay. Now I'm sorry.
Yep.
Continue.
Yeah. I was just going to do a very quick video game quiz time supreme.
Oh, God.
Do you know the developer of Golden Sun.
Oh, oof. Mm, mm. Oh, who is it? Who is it? Oh, that's gonna drive me nuts. Just tell me. Just tell me.
Yeah. My hint was going to be, I don't think you're going to get it.
Fair enough.
Because this developer is mostly known for making games like Mario Tennis and Mario Golf.
Camelot?
Camelot
Whoa.
made Golden Sun.
Okay. All right. Way to go,
And
Camelot.
let me tell you, this game looks fantastic, and this is one of like the early games on the Game Boy Advance. I cannot believe how good like these 3D sprites look for this game. And also Camelot had made a Mario Golf and a Mario Tennis for the Game Boy Advance that look pretty similar to the Game Boy. I mean the GameCube versions, just like the same style of game, just in these like 3D sprite based graphics instead of like the 3D graphics. Like I just couldn't believe how good these games looked. It was really impressive.
Wow, that's all. Yeah, I never would have guessed Camelot. That's yeah. Wow. So how so the game looks great. That's impressive in its own right. How does it play?
So far I'm really liking it. It's a solid RPG with some cool you know, I forget what they call it off the top of my head, but they have these magic skills that you can use to actually interact with objects in the world, like physically move like stone columns out of the way, and you know, just things to help you progress through the world. The story's really cool. The characters are cool so far. I'm only like about 5 hours into that so far, but you know, the battles are fun. They are randomly generated, and I heard the game gets pretty difficult a little bit later on. But so far, you know, like the story I'm really enjoying. It's making sense. It's not like that JRPG gibberish like some stories are. You know, and it's just a fun RPG. Like, you know, I'm glad to finally be able to play because I heard so many good things about it. So yeah, so that was Golden Sun. Sticking on the RPG bandwagon, I have been continuing to play Tales of Berseria as well.
Nice.
Kind of the same deal. I'm really loving the story in that game and the characters. So much so that it's keeping me going in the game because the combat in that game is not really that great. A lot of it is kind of button mashy. I was having an issue where battles were just way too easy. Like, I'm like 15 hours into Tales of Berseria, and you know, there are these demons that are called red demons. They're like supposed to be really tough enemies that you have to fight. And you know, there's a cutscene of my characters that were like, all right, let's study this red demon before we hop in there because you know they're a very, very difficult opponent, and we really need to make sure that we're prepared for this fight. So I was like, all right, you know, I think I could handle this. I was like getting a little nervous, but I was like, all right, come on, let's just go and see how bad this is. I killed this thing in like 32 seconds. It was a joke. It like barely even hurt me. And I'm like, what is going on here? Like, you know, I'm like, all right, you know, early RPG stuff, whatever. The battles are simple. You're killing everybody, no problem. You know, so I'm going, and I'm like, all right, you know, 5 hours in. Still really easy. Maybe I'm ahead of like my equipment and stuff. I'm just handling this really well. Okay, like 7 hours in, yeah, it's still, you know, not really having any issues. 10 hours in, still wiping the floor with these guys. 15 hours in, I'm like, all right, something is wrong here. Like I'm not breaking a sweat fighting these enemies. So you can turn up the difficulty. I had it on normal. I bumped it up to moderate. There was like no change. And then I think I bumped it up to hard, and it was still really easy. However, the last time I played, there was another red demon, and this one actually killed me. It was the first time I died in the game. And it was super frustrating because I had like, you could see their health bar. Mm-hmm. There was like a minuscule line of health left on this thing. I almost had it before it wiped out my party.
Oh, but, that's the worst. That's the worst when you've got them down to like a pixel of
Yeah.
health left, and they still kill you. Especially when that's your first. That for me, that's always the most painful death. Is the first time you die when you're playing an RPG. Because it's just like you spend all that time and you're like, yeah, I'm a badass. Me and my party, we're practically gods in training. And then you come across this enemy and it's just like, yeah, no. And it kills you and you're like, oh, man, like that's unsatisfying. Like it's just a
Yeah.
very deflating feeling.
So yeah, that was frustrating. That was actually the last time I played that. Just a couple days later, I got
toss
rid
it
of
right in the trash.
No, I really want to go back to it because again, like I'm just enjoying the characters and the story so much, and there's a lot of dialogue in that game, and I can understand if that bothers some people. But for me, I don't know. I think it's probably the best part of the game. The voice acting is really good in this game, and that's another thing you don't really see too often in JRPGs. You might get a couple good characters here and there, but for the most part, it's kind of like not great or annoying.
I'm really feeling it.
But I feel like every character is voiced really well. The dialogue's not super great, but it's serviceable, and I'm enjoying it. So yeah, I really am happy to be playing that as well.
All right, nice.
I actually have one more game that I played.
Oh my god, look at you.
Yeah.
You're really making up for lost time.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you're not on the podcast for a month.
Hey, it's okay. I mean, I docked your pay, so it's fine.
Oh, thank you.
Don't mention it.
The last game that I played was a recommendation from Nick. That game is called Unexplored on the Switch.
Yes. Yeah, he was telling us all about this one.
Yeah, so Unexplored is a top-down, procedurally generated dungeon crawling experience. It's got permadeath in it, and you die a lot. So,
all right,
you make a character called, Chris the First, and then you'll get an axe to the head, and it'll be like Chris the First died by an axe to the head. Then you start as Chris the Second, and like you kind of go from there. And it's really cool because the procedural generation is very, very varied. Like you have no idea what kind of area you'll be in, what kind of enemies you'll be facing. So that in itself is kind of cool just to explore around. The presentation of the game is kind of strange. It's remember when we coined that term circle shapey?
Yes.
Yeah, so the graphics kind of are like that, where everything is just kind of made out of like a flat shape with different colors, and it kind of looks cool, but at some points, it's just like a black round circle with a red round circle in it, and you're looking from a top-down perspective. You have no clue what that thing is. Is it a lamp? Is it a bottle? Is it a button? Is it like something I can interact with? Like there were so many objects on the map that like I just wasn't sure what it was or what it was trying to be. Like there wasn't enough definition to like help me realize like, oh, this might be a switch I need to hit, or no, that's just like a table or like a pot or a desk chair or something. Like it's a little too simplistic, I think.
Well, okay, yeah, I mean, like, yeah, you have to have some detail in there. You can't just literally have a circle shape be the thing if you're going to use circle shapey graphics.
Yeah, it just got to the point where it was a little confusing to me about some objects, but the gameplay is kind of cool. It's a little tough to get used to the controls. I think this is one of those types of games where the more you play it, the faster you'll learn it, and the deeper you will go in your runs. But for me, I was having a little bit trouble just kind of swinging my weapons. You can find a ton of different weapons and potions that can do different things. And, in the procedural generation, the enemies, of course, are totally random as well. And in my one run, I walked into this room, and there was just like these 3 giant guys with these spiked clubs that I had no reason to be fighting, and I tried to fight them, and they literally just like beat the crap out of me in like 2 seconds and killed me. It was just a joke.
Well, I'm sorry that happened to you.
But it's like it's in the title. Like it's a fun game to explore. Like you don't know the procedural generation is so varied. You don't know what you're gonna see. And it's just kind of fun to see how far you can get before you are brutally murdered by a spiked club to the face.
Well, I mean, it's all about the exploration. Yeah, it's not always about the destination.
Yeah, so I'm kind of lukewarm on it, but I want to keep playing because I think there is a lot of fun that can be had there.
All right, nice.
All right, and that is it for what I have been playing. Thank you. What I did last summer.
Thank you, Justin. You may now have a seat. But actually, no, you got to get right back on up here because you are not done. Because now that we talked about what you're playing, I know you've been playing one more game, and that one more game was our creepy arcade.
The creepy arcade.
If you may recall, you have a fantastic memory because it's been a while. But Justin was not on the show last time when I gave him his creepy arcade game in absentia. That means you weren't here. That game was Pony Island, which was not about ponies or an island at all. Justin, tell us about it.
All right, so Pony Island, very quick presentation of it is it's a type of game where it's one of those kind of there's something behind the mask, like the presentation of the game is not exactly what it seems. Like for example, if you've ever heard of Frog Fractions or Glittermitten Grove,
yes.
Or even Doki Doki Literature Club,
yes.
The image on the cover is not exactly what you're getting when you start playing. There is a game within the game that they're trying to show, and the best part about these types of games is that they're very clever, and the things that you see are very unexpected, and that is 100% the case for Pony Island. The initial presentation of Pony Island is this cartoony, cute pony game, side-scrolling thing where you kind of are just like controlling the pony and jumping over these hurdles to get to the end goal. When you start playing the game, you realize immediately that there's a lot more to this, and it actually turned out to be a perfect game for the creepy arcade because its presentation is it's one part like really interesting and cool, one part really funny, and another part really creepy. You are actually playing the game on this old beat up computer, so you can actually see like when you do some things in the game, you get a ticket, and you see like this 3D rendered hand like in front of the monitor come and like take the ticket. So it's like you are almost kind of playing in first person, like playing a game on a computer. And
nice.
The whole idea is that the computer is like corrupt and it's possessed by demons, and everything is trying to be like hid initially, that they don't want you to know that, but like you can sort of see in the background that the developer of Pony Island is this company called Satanware. Yeah.
It sounds on the up and up.
Yeah. And it's just how it's clever is that there is, of course, that element of controlling the pony and jumping over the hurdles, but that's just a very small portion of the game. A lot of it is actually played through the menus of the game. It's almost like a computer hacking, like a fake computer hacking kind of game at some points. Like for example, the game starts off when you go into the options menu, and like the first option is anti-aliasing, or I can never pronounce that.
Aliasing?
Anti-aliasing, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
What you see normally in a game. and then like the next option is like save your soul, like,
Oh,
and you can like check that or uncheck that, but it won't let you uncheck that. Um,
interesting.
yes,
So it's kind
so
of like
there's
so it's almost like Kingsway too.
yeah, that's another great example. I was actually thinking about that when I was playing it. So you are kind of navigating menus, and you're getting these like corrupt file screens that you kind of have to decode and figure out how to get back to the main game and how to beat it. And you know, like at one point the game crashes, and you go to a desktop, and a chat window pops up, and it's a person talking to you from inside the game who was the soul of a person who played the game before, and they're trying to basically tell you, hey, you need to work with me to help me like destroy the three main like files of the game. There's three like champion files that need to be destroyed to like break the game so that his soul can be freed and stuff. So you're trying to navigate through these menus and like click on these secret buttons that open up secret submenus. Um, like for example, the game kind of keeps trying to take control over that person that was talking to you in the chat, and like it's like fighting with that person. It's like, oh, you gave your soul to me, like you are locked into this game, and it makes you play that pony game. So you start playing in the beginning, and like you're literally just pressing the space bar or clicking to jump over hurdles and get to the finish line. So you start beating the first few levels, and the game is like, haha, do you think I made it that easy? And then you play another level, and there are like these demon heads that are like flying around your pony, and they just kill you every single time, and like there's no way you can get out of it. And he's like, ha ha, like, this is the way the game was meant to be played. Like, the commentary is really, like, funny, too. I'm not doing it justice, but it's very good writing with, like, some fourth wall breaking, and it's very self-aware. In the options menu, there's, like, an option to turn off in-game purchasing and stuff like that. Loot boxes and free DLC, like, it's like making fun of the industry.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're playing this game, and he rigged it basically so you can't win. So you have to go out of the game into the options menu and find a secret options menu to unlock a cheat code that gives you like pony laser breath, and you have to complete these little mini games to, because like the game starts to realize that you're in this menu, and it's like, hey, you can't access that, and so like it's trying to stop you from clicking on the like the toggle to turn on that cheat code. So you have to kind of figure out ways to decode that and stop that from happening, so you can activate the pony breath. And then once you activate, it's this awesome scene of like going back into the game, and like the game is like, no, you can't do that, you're cheating. And then you just like start firing the pony breath, and you're like destroying all the demons, and this awesome music kicks in. Like, it's really cool.
Oh my god, that sounds so epic.
Yeah, it's just a very clever game. That really makes you think outside the box. Like you'll see the screen of all this like decoded stuff, and you have no idea what you're supposed to do. But then you realize that like, oh, some of these icons are arrows, and I have to like kind of link these words together to get the key icon to get to the empty key slot icon to unlock what I'm trying to unlock, and like the puzzles start to make sense. And it's just some really clever puzzles in there. It's a lot of fun. Like, full disclosure, I'm only about a third of the way game done so far. I destroyed the first of the three main files that you have to destroy to end the game. But it's great. Like it's really funny. The music's cool. The whole idea, the whole concept, of playing this like corrupt like demon video game is executed really well, and it's just an overall really cool experience, really something original. So I would highly recommend checking out Pony Island.
All right, nice. Yeah, it sounds super spooky, super clever, and yeah, I'm glad you really had a good time with it.
Yeah, it was a really great pick for the indie arcade.
Thank you.
Or creepy arcade.
I'm very proud of that pick.
Yeah, you did a great job. And now I have to try and follow up on that.
Yeah, now we know it's the end of October when this is coming out, but I mean, we have been taking a lot of October off for this time. So Justin and I agreed that we are going to give you folks out there one more creepy arcade to make up for the time that was lost.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I got a pretty good one.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, Chris. This game is on Steam. It is on sale for $5.
Ooh, I love a good sale.
And
These discounts are so good. They're scary.
yeah, very true. Chris, you and I are both fans of old NES style retro games.
Of course.
The game I'm about to assign to you is, in fact, an NES homebrew game independently developed for the NES. And that game is Haunted Halloween 86, The Curse of Possum Hollow.
Haunted Halloween 86.
Yes.
Hold on. Let me spell haunted correctly first.
Are you rad enough to accept the ultimate 8-bit challenge on Halloween night again? Haunted Halloween 86, The Curse of Possum Hollow is a brand new NES homebrew game featuring side-scrolling, platforming, beat-em-up action. It is the sequel to Haunted Halloween 85 and was originally released on cartridge in October of 2016 for the original Nintendo Entertainment System, so it follows all the rules and restrictions of the original hardware. We are releasing a copy of the game in all its pixelated 8-bit retro glory for your PC. The cartridge version can be purchased online for those who still have a working NES or clone console. So yeah, this game was made for the NES in 2016, so it has all the hardware limitations of the NES in it. And I gotta say, like, looking through some of these screen grabs, it looks beautiful.
It looks great, especially for that limited hardware. I'm watching the trailer right now. It is like some kid who's like running around. He's punching like fish people in the face and like knocking their heads off, and he's grabbing fish and like throwing them. He's like beating the hell out of everything. Like, it looks great. Like, it looks like it runs like a dream. I also love the developer's name, Retrotainment Games.
Yeah,
that's really good. This game looks it looks fantastic. It looks like a lot of fun. If this truly is like an NES era beat 'em up, I'm sure this game is going to kick my ass. Because those types of games are always just brutally hard. So we'll see how it is. I'm a little scared, but I think I can overcome to play this.
Hey man, you get to punch a zombie in the face and knock his head off.
Yeah, I mean that in and of itself is its own reward. All right,
or fish people, I should say.
Yes, zombie fish people.
There we go.
All right, well, yeah, it looks great. I'm going to pick this one up right about now.
Yeah, and they have a picture of the actual NES cartridge that they made, and it's in like this bright orange color, with the full label on it and everything. It looks really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks really good. Yeah, I always love, like, this isn't the first time someone has tried building a game off the old NES hardware, and it's always just really impressive. Especially, it's just a fun challenge because, I mean, that hardware was really limiting, especially compared to the resources you have today. So it's always funny to see what games people can come up with when they limit themselves like that.
Absolutely. It's a fun challenge, I guess, for them to work. And I'm sure fans of gaming from many years ago are just really excited to be able to create a game like some of their heroes did back in the day.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so this is ordinarily where we would go on a break and get ready for our big topic, but we don't have a topic for this week because we were just taking it easy, just kind of easing back into the swing of things. So, I think that's going to do it for us today, Justin.
Yeah, super happy to be back. I'm glad we were able to start off, you know, tonight with a easy episode and get back into everything. But I'm sure that we have plenty of good things to talk about. We got the end of the year coming up soon. We're going to be doing our whole end of the year, rankings with game of the year and all that stuff, and just trying to catch up on all the great games that came out this year. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yep, got the Game of the Year extravaganza coming soon. So everyone out there, get ready, get your thinking caps on. Especially this year is not done yet. We're going to have some late entrants for the Game of the Year. Fallout 76, for one, is coming soon. So, yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that, that's going to be all for this week. Remember, Press A repeatedly posts new episodes Tuesdays on iTunes, Google Play, Podbean, YouTube, and Spotify. If you like what you hear, please take a moment to rate and review the show, or tell your friends about us. It helps other people find the podcast and will really help us grow. And thank you to all who have rated, reviewed, and subscribed so far. We love you.
You can follow us on our Facebook page or on Twitter and Instagram. We are at Press A Repeatedly. I'm at Seagold113, and Justin is at Oaf7724. You can email us any questions or comments at parpodcast@gmail.com. That's parpodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget to check us out on our new site at pressarepeatedly.com. That's all for this week. Chris and Justin signing off. And remember, to break free from a grapple by a drunken Scottish brute, press A repeatedly.